All righty, welcome everybody. Glad to have you joining us on this fine Tuesday. We typically have lots of people from all over the world joining in, so do introduce yourself there in the chats. Tell us where you're joining in from. Looks like you got 11 people in the room currently, but we'll have more obviously piling in. And while people are piling in, and before we kind of get started here, I'm actually going to share this poll here that you can go and fill out. Up there at the top on the right-hand side, there's something called, you'll see chat, polls, and handouts. If you click on polls, there's a question there, or it may even come through the chat. Just let us know which product you're most familiar with. This will kind of help us tailor the webinar a little bit towards what people know and what they're familiar with. And hopefully this will help us kind of convey, answer questions before they even pop up. So go ahead and fill that out while we've got some people piling in here. And if you can, again, go ahead and tell us where you're calling in from. Looks like Amsterdam, Ukraine. We've got New York, Toronto, all over the world. I love it. Love seeing the global audience that both of these platforms have. It's super awesome to see.
So great.
Looks like we got 14 people piling in here. Hope everybody's doing good today. We've got an awesome session planned. I'll introduce our guest here in a minute. She's got some amazing stuff planned for us to show off, and I think you'll find that this session will be a really good one. Greeting from Southern California, John. Love it. Welcome, sir. People, maybe 3 more minutes to pile in. For those of you just joining us, if you can go ahead and fill out the poll, let us know kind of which one you're most familiar with, Smartsuite, Softr, or maybe you're someone who's just equally good at both. Those people do exist. I think you'll find Shannon, our guest today, is one of those people. Washington State, San Francisco, awesome, welcome. Looks like so far we got 56% of people are most familiar with Smartsuite, 33% most familiar with Softr, and we've got one person who is two people who know both equally. So awesome, good to see that kind of stuff.
Great mix.
Yeah, it's good mix here. So we'll get about 2 more minutes and then we'll get started here. Sharon's in Texas. Matthias is from Buenos Aires, Ukraine, Pennsylvania. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Looks like we got 20 people in here now. And again, if you haven't filled out the poll, go ahead and fill out the poll for telling us which product you're most familiar with. That'll help us kind of tailor the session a little bit more as to what we should cover here. Looks like we've got almost an even split, or actually an exact even split right now, Smartsuite and Softr. And then we've got 3 people who are just absolute experts, man. They know both of them equally. So excited to have you all here as well. From Spain, Farnham, UK. Welcome, everybody. Awesome. Very cool. All right, so we've got 23 people in the chat. Joaquin's from Mexico. Awesome. Welcome. Again, last kind of reminder here, if you haven't filled out the poll, go ahead and fill that out and let us know kind of which one you're most familiar with. Looks like we're going to have kind of an equal split here right down the line, which is really cool to see. So we'll go ahead and dive in really quick. Again, this session is being recorded. So if at any point you need to drop out or you want to share this recording with someone, you'll get both a link to this session in your email, but then we will also be posting this on our Softr YouTube page, so you can always go back and watch it there as well. And so today we'll be looking at building an HR portal in Smartsuite and Softr. We've got with us today Shannon Vincent, who's a Smartsuite expert and consultant. She runs her own consultancy firm and is an expert in lots of different platforms. She runs a team of people and is super talented. And she can introduce herself and tell you more about that a little bit later on when we hand it over to her. But my name is Patrick Ford. I'm the customer success manager here at Softr. I deal a lot with our business plans, our enterprise customers, and then I run webinars like this with you wonderful people. So glad to be here today, and I hope that you find this webinar helpful for you. So our agenda today is we'll do kind of an overview of Smartsuite, and Shannon may do a little bit of building, the majority of which she's kind of already got built out, just so that you can see how robust an HR portal can be. But she'll do an overview. We'll stop for some questions specifically about Smartsuite. Then she will dive straight into an overview of Softr and doing a little bit of building in Softr and kind of explaining about that. And then we'll have towards the end another section for questions, comments, feedback, and then Shannon can talk a little bit more about what she does and how you can get involved there. That said, all throughout the session, I will be monitoring the chat. So if you have questions, please feel free to go ahead and post those in the chat. If it's not one that I can answer immediately or it doesn't apply directly to what Shannon is talking about in the moment, I will mark it as a question and we can actually come back to that towards the end. If it does apply directly and kind of the space allows for it, I may interrupt Shannon to get her to answer that question. So you're more than welcome to post your questions as they come up in the chat there. All right, without further ado, we've got 22 people in the chat. Let's take one last look at our poll here, divided almost right down the middle. Just maybe one more person on the Softr side of things. But Shannon, go ahead and take it away for us. I'll go ahead and stop sharing and you can share your screen.
All right, great. Thanks for having me. I'm Shannon Vincent. I'm the owner of SMB Virtual Consulting. We've been providing no-code consulting services for the last 5 years, and we've helped hundreds of clients build custom workflows in project and work management tools. So today I'm going to be walking through an HR portal that we built in Smartsuite. Let me get my screens organized here. And that we will connect to Softr. So let's see here. There we go. All right. So let me move this screen over. Can you see my screen okay, Patrick?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So this is a solution that I built in Smartsuite. Here in Smartsuite, you call kind of a base or a database, a solution. Here you'll see a series of tables, and these tables are all related to an HR portal. And I'll walk through each of these. For those that don't know about Smartsuite, Smartsuite is a work management tool that has some really great features that many other tools don't have. And so I'll walk through and talk through some of their amazing features. But one of the features that they have inside of their platform is views. So views in each of these tables is a way to visualize the data in different ways. So right now, we are in an employee information table, and inside that table, you're able to see all the information related to specific employees. This is called a card view. So I'm able to display it in a card format and determine what fields I present in this format. They also have about 10 other views, I think 9 other views. And so here I'm able to take that employee information and now view it in a grid view, which is more like a spreadsheet that you can toggle open and see data inside of it. So inside of this record, this is a record view, you're able to see all of the information related to that specific record and scroll through. Now, all of these This record view is very customizable. So you can kind of drag and drop information where you need it to go. You can create sections. So down here, I have some sections of information that I may not need to see without toggling it open. So each of these sections can be toggled collapse close by default. So if you have information that isn't really relevant, you can hide that information. And you're able to also add tables in here of information. So we'll talk more about linked record, where the employee information can be linked to several other tables here, and you're able to display that information in these card or table formats to see the information. So here I'm displaying it in a display format, but I can also change it to a table. And what I'm looking at here is benefits that are linked to an employee record for Broccoli. And now I'm able to see a table of the benefit information. I'm also able to modify this and determine what fields I show. So all the fields over in their benefit information, I'm able to share here in an order that I choose related to that specific record. So link records in Smartsuite are really powerful. You're able to take one employee record and connect it to a series of other records. Another view here that is really beneficial is dashboards. So you're able to, taking a second to load, but able to create charts and graphs related to specific information on your records. So here I'm showing the number of employees by department. So you're able to see how many employees you have by department or by job title. And so you're really able to fine tune the way these dashboards look. Here in the edit mode, you can pick from widgets in the dashboards, and they, I think, in my opinion, have some of the most amazing dashboard widgets I've seen. So you're able to choose from different widgets, embed a custom code, pick from, you can embed things like Zoom links and text and graphs and charts. So really customizable dashboards. So here we also have a series of other views. So I'm showcasing the grid view, the card view, and the dashboard, but you can see here that we have a calendar view, we can do Kanban, timelines, and all kinds of things. Depending on your plan, you can group into folders, so you can show, if you have a lot of views, you can really organize them here on this side panel. The side panel can also be collapsed, and then you could just see the icons here, giving you more room on your screen to look at the data. Okay, and then each of these views, let me just show some of the options and views. You're able to choose what fields you display. You're able to take a view and toggle it to another view type. So, and then toggle it back. You can sort and filter. You can group by certain fields and even spotlight certain records. So right now, these records are highlighted based on the job title. You can choose the height of the row and have it auto set based on the data, and certain views you can share. You can also search for records. So a lot of customization options within each view type. And then let's talk about tables. So each of these tables can have specific views that are custom created related to the data inside the tables. Here, so the employee record is kind of the bulk of the information. The employee record details all the information related to the employee. And then the majority of these other tables connect over using a linked record field to that employee. So here I have a table, and you can see here, this is a linked record field, and it is associated, I'll just show in the settings, to the table of employee information. So it's connecting over to that employee. Inside of here, you can see that I have different custom fields for benefits specifically. So you can showcase and see all the benefits that a certain employee is enrolled in at your company. So right now I have a view by benefit type. So we're seeing it grouped by healthcare, dental, and so on. You can also have another view where you just see it by employee type. And inside of Softr, I'll show where you can really see opening up an employee record and seeing just their benefits and everything associated with them. So we'll build that live. Next up, we have time and attendance. Time and attendance, there's multiple ways you could track this. If you don't need really detailed time tracking, you can have it where your employee submits. We could create what's called a form view here, and every day they submit their time in and time out, and we calculate their lunch. Or you can have time tracking here, so they can use this toggle to start a timer, track their time. They can also add in notes or manually add time here, so they can manually adjust or add additional time here within this system. And then we could roll this up into dashboards and things like that. There's not much here in this table besides kind of the date and the time tracking. And then this employee record ID is really important, especially for Softr. And I'll show you how this works. But basically, this is a unique identifier that's built into every record. And I'm looking up the employee record ID from the employee table, which we'll use to filter down information in Softr. And just making sure there's no questions so far. Okay, great. Next up, we have trainings and certifications. So if you have internal trainings, maybe you have annual trainings for your managers, or you have certification options for your employees, you can track training and certifications and see quickly which trainings your team members have completed. So here we're looking up kind of the job title from the employee table, the status, the type of certification, the date it was completed, and the date it was expired. Here in the training and certifications, again, that's linked back over to employees. We also have performance evaluations. So if you wanted to do some annual evaluations or evaluations at a certain time period, we have a performance evaluation table. So you can have managers rate the performance of their team members, answer some custom questions. And again, this is tied back to the employee looking up their department and job title. And you can create a form inside of Smartsuite that shows all those fields. So rather than someone coming into a grid view, this form view could be shared with your managers to fill out. There's also custom logic that could be built into here. So if you wanted to show a certain field based on another field's, say a drop-down field, you can, in each of these, you have the option to show field only when a condition is met. So if they're a certain job title or status or something like that, you can have them fill this information out and fill out certain questions based on that specific criteria. Okay, and then we have leave of absence. So we can track here. I have views for all leave this year. And what it's doing is it's filtering down to anything that's on or after this exact date. So this year. So you're able to see leave of absence for this year. You're able to see it for last year. You can create a view for last year. You can also roll up into dashboards based on this criteria and see the leave of absences for any given year and see what type if you'd like. You can have a form, and we can also do this on the Softr side that your team members fill out to submit for a leave of absence. Another powerful thing about Smartsuite is we can automate logic into here. So Smartsuite is built with automations, and we can say every time this form is submitted, alert the manager or something like that. So they have a lot of customization options for within their automations. Another thing to mention is I'm in one solution, so one database. You could have a series of solutions connected to each other and automate between the different solutions. And that is something that you don't see very often in other tools, and something very powerful that you can use for your organization. Say you have HR in this database and you may have management operating in another database. You can automate over to those managers a task to approve this leave time. All right. So I'm going to exit without saving. And then we have like offboarding and termination. So we can have the managers submit offboarding details, and you can see any termination or offboarding notes related to that specific employee. Next up, we have employee feedback. So if you wanted to have employees provide feedback annually, or you just want a way for your employees to provide feedback, you can have these forms that your employees fill out with different notes. You can make them anonymous if they want to fill out feedback at any given time. You can have offboarding feedback and things like that. So you can really customize. And again, you can use these forms to create logic to customize what questions are asked for any given feedback form. No questions so far? Okay, I'll keep going. Next, I built in a training and development calendar. So here you can list any training and development. You can go as far as to have people register for specific trainings. You can post this in a calendar and showcase the dates, which I can go ahead and do here. We're going to say start date. I think so. Then you can see them on a calendar and see what trainings and development you have going on for your team. You can color code these based on certain types of trainings. You can create multiple calendar views and filter out certain ones. Say you have management training and you don't need the whole company to know what trainings are specifically for managers. You can filter down to specific criteria for these trainings and create multiple calendar views. Next here we have company news. So if you wanted to, inside your Softr portal, post any company news and any details about things coming up, we have some company news here, and I'll show you in the Softr portal how you can use this as part of your portal. And then company policies. So any company policies that you want your team to be able to quickly reference, you can post in your portal based on certain criteria. So inside of the portal, we can say, okay, we have some that are drafted, but we don't necessarily want them published inside of the portal. So we're going to publish, or we're going to post them based on status inside of the Softr portal. And then you have just a simple task list. So you can associate certain tasks. Say you're onboarding an employee and you'd like them to complete these certain steps, or you'd like your HR team to complete certain steps. You can automate tasks over to this HR task list based on an employee coming into your system under the status of onboarding. So lots of options of automation there. And that's about all for the different tables inside of Smartsuite. So a couple more things about Smartsuite is some of the features that really stand out about Smartsuite to me are the Smart Docs. One of them, Smart Docs, I can open this up, and these Smart Docs are really great for custom information. You can use the / command, and You can mention team members. You can bring in linked records. You can add images, videos. They just have it now where you can create a whiteboard. So say you're brainstorming and you want somewhere to hold that information, you can create whiteboards. You can really customize these smart docs. You can use templates for smart docs. There's a lot of different ways that you can use smart docs to enhance the data within your database. They also have the linking between different solutions. I also find that when you're getting started with Smartsuite, their customer support is amazing. They really help guide their new customers through setting this up and getting their questions answered. So a lot of benefits of Smartsuite.
Shannon, we do have one question. I think in one of the widgets, maybe, or the dashboard, there was something there called data schema.
Yep.
Can you talk about that a little bit more? We have a question in the chat where Joaquin is asking, are there relations maps of these tables? Which I'm assuming he's talking about the schema of how those linked records.
Yep, let me show that in full screen. So yeah, I didn't customize this a lot, but this can be modified a bit, but it really is showing the relationship between the different tables throughout the solution.
Gotcha. And is that automatically generated, or is that something that you...
Yeah, I pulled this in a couple seconds and it automatically generated this for me. Now I'm sure there's, oh, you can show links to other solutions. So not only this solution, you can show links out to other solutions. I currently don't have this one connected, but say HR's here and you have other solutions that you want to see the relationships between. It looks like you can do that as well. You can format certain fields. This is a newer feature for Smartsuite, but a really great one.
Yeah, lots of positive comments about that feature here in the chat for sure. I definitely agree. Yeah, there are some things in Smartsuite that Airtable definitely does not have. The smart docs, this data schema. And can you talk a little bit about the different field types? We were able to see a few of them in the tables, but can you just go through and show us kind of more of the Smartsuite? And I can add a caveat. I can add a caveat on the Softr side of things.
So yeah, that is one of the things I forgot to mention is field types. So inside of Smartsuite, I think by far they have the most different field types. I know some to point out are the Smart Doc field type. They have an address field type. You're even able to display a map with the address. They have a ton of different field types. So voting field types, I mean, the list goes on and on. So they also just came out with dependencies. So you can create relationships between tasks within the system and create those dependencies. And that, I believe, came out very early this year. Buttons, you can hyperlink over to external sources, roll-ups and lookups. Formulas are really great. You can the formula fields, you can look up information using these formulas and other tables, which is just a really quick way to roll up data. They have signature type field, which I have not seen in other work management tools, color pickers, IP addresses, I mean, sub items as well. So sub items are really great in here. If you wanted to, instead of having tasks auto-generated over in another table, you could use sub items and see those sub items for each new employees for their onboarding process and things like that. So they by far have the most field types I've seen in a work or project management tool.
Yeah, so a couple of quick questions. You may or may not know these since since the dependency one just came out very recently. But we have some people asking about how the dependency field may work, or like what is the purpose of that? Like what would that be?
So I'm a little bit new to it because it's newer, but I've worked with it a little bit, so I can show you here. So say you have a series of tasks, you can create relationships. So waiting on and blocking relationships. So say that you have to send out the HR paperwork before you can upload it to your system. There's a dependency there. You really can't upload it to the system until you receive the final ones back. So you can add these relationships. You can also show those relationships in a Gantt chart. So they are really powerful if you have these very dependent type relationships between different tasks.
Yeah, that's excellent.
And they're really easy to complete too. It's just kind of clicking on the box, finding the different ones. Right now, they don't have automations where you can develop dependencies within the automations, but this is very new, and I would expect they would probably come out with that at some point.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like they ship things very, very, very quickly over there.
They definitely do.
So yeah, so it looks like John's posted a great link for how to work with those dependencies a little bit more in depth there. But just to keep us kind of on track with time here,
Sure.
this was a super good. Is there anything else that you think you'd like people to know about Smartsuite before we move on?
There's a lot more. There's just not enough time. There's a
Sure.
lot more features that I didn't even touch on. It's a really amazing product, but yeah, there's more that we could go into at a later time, but this is a great foundation for what we're going to be doing in Softr.
Awesome. Excellent. So what I'll do now is any additional questions that come in about Smartsuite, I'll just mark those as a question, and we will a little bit later on in the session towards the end. So we'll hold on to your questions about Smartsuite specific things and kind of return to those at the end there. But Shannon, if you want to take us into Softr and kind of bring this home, bring these two things together and show us kind of
Sure. Let me go ahead and get sort of in the back end. So in the back end here, I've created just a fake business name and created some pages. So you can sort of in the beginning visualize how these portals could look. So if you don't know the Softr side, Softr can be built on top of project management tools, even spreadsheets and things like that, as a way to create portals and create user access. And I'll go into some of the permissions and user groups in a few moments. But here I have kind of my home page. So first I'll start with how easy it is to connect different data sources. So down here, I'm on kind of my dashboard for Softr. If I go inside of here, I can go to data sources, and you can see I have multiple different data sources connected. It's pretty easy. Just connect a source. It's going to force you to log in, and then you now have that data source that you can access in each of these portals. Okay, so I'm working in this HR portal, and here is my home page. So in this home page, really building in Softr is like some building blocks. It's really easy to add to each of these pages. I clicked on add block here to create this block. And because this has no dynamic data, I picked a static block that is like a header. You can pick from all these different templates to pull that information in. And then I customized it, and I'll show you how you can customize the backgrounds and change the font type and change the colors. So there's a lot of that you can do here with these different blocks. So here I just have kind of a hero bar, and then below it I have links to different areas of the internal portal. So here is a block, and I think it's called the features block, where you can put multiple features in here. When I click on this block, I'm now inside of the settings on this right-hand panel where I can really customize the block. So here, because I didn't feel I needed a header, I just deleted it out and it kind of removed that header. But if you want to add a header to these blocks, you can type in some information. You'll see this little paintbrush here where you can really customize the details of it: font size, font color. You can pick font families. In your global settings, you can set a font family as well. choose row heights and padding and everything. So really make it feel your own, and color things. And then down here, here's where the features are. So I have 5 features here. You'll see there's 5 little tabs here. You're able to use this block and create custom icons here. Each of these can be customized. So you can customize the size of the icon, make it a little bit bigger if you want. You can customize the colors of things, and really customize the way that your team will experience this information. An important part of this is it has this read more button down here. Down here under link, you're really able to customize what happens next when somebody clicks on read more. So under read more, I'm saying to open a page, and under open page, it's going to open to a page. And I'll show you our pages here. There's quite a few pages here that links over to the employee directory, which will show up next. So I have each of these icons and the read more linking over to a custom page that I've built. I saw some questions coming in. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Yep, we're good.
Okay. So in here, so this is kind of the home page. It's linking to the other pages that your users would experience. Something I should mention about each of these blocks. So depending on your plan in Softr, you have different visibility options. So say in this home page, you want everybody to see this home page, but you may not want them to be able to see some other pages. I'm going to show you how you can set visibility on different blocks and different pages and things like that. So right now I can set this as an HR portal. You probably don't want the outside kind of seeing this or getting a hold of this, accidentally getting a link. So you can set all these pages to logged in users and force that all this information or this specific block can only be seen by logged in users. Okay. Next up, we have employee directory. So here I have a dynamic block. So this dynamic block, when I'm creating a block, I'm going to pick from the dynamic blocks, which means I'm able to take that data from Smartsuite and pull it into a dynamic block. So I picked this list with vertical cards block, and I was able to customize it. So I'm showing the pictures from within the employee table in Smartsuite, and the rest of the data that's presented there is also coming from Smartsuite. So here, under this block, you can pop up the settings and you can connect to a source, as I showed you how to connect to a data source, and then pick what location you're pulling from. And then set any custom logic down here, and we'll talk more about custom logic coming up next when we build a page. But under underneath content, you're able to set which fields are showing here. So first up, I have the photo field. I'm selecting it as an image type, and the contents I'm pulling from is I'm pulling from that dynamic connection to Smartsuite. So I'm picking from the fields that are located in the employee information table to connect it to Softr. So each one of these can really be customized. You can choose what field types they are. You can set different permissions on all of them. There's a lot you can do, very granular options when it comes to how this information is displayed. And so each of these fields, I'm just pulling in a value from the employee information table into these fields. You can customize what they say, and there's a lot you can do here. And then next up, I can do actions on these blocks. And so an action, you have actions for the top bar. So here on this top bar, I can I can designate a certain action. So here on this top bar, I'm saying I'm allowing the users who have access to this block to create a record. So under the action, I selected add record. You can select other options here. Here's where you can change the action. So you can open a page, scroll to a page, go to a URL. There's a bunch of different options you can do with these action buttons. But here I'm saying I want to be able to create a record, which will then create a record over in Smartsuite. And I'm designating certain fields that I'm allowing for the user who has access to this button to create over in our database. You can choose how this pops up. So you can pick certain settings on here, change the name of the button, and so on and so forth. Change the message after a record is created. So lots of options there. And then we have item buttons. So each of these different cards in here is considered an item. Inside of here, I created an item button that says see more. And I'm telling it to, on each of these cards, when this is clicked, to open a page. So we have an employee information details page, and we're actually going to be recreating this live to show you how robust it can be to create, link all the data into a page where you can see really everything on an employee. And I'm saying open it in the same tab. You can choose to open it in a pop-up box. You can choose to open it in a different tab. So lots of options there as well. And then style it. So you can really style each of these blocks, choose a background color. So if I wanted to change the background, I want to pick colors related to my brand and my logo. You can customize those colors and put hex codes in there, add borders, all kinds of things. And then lastly, you can choose visibility. So in our next step where we're creating a page, the visibility part will really come in. But say you want all the team members to see the general information about an employee, but there's certain pieces that you only want managers to see. You could really set certain blocks for certain user groups. All right. Okay.
And Shannon, can you touch briefly on the filtering aspect? You were showing me before the call how you had the tagging and stuff like that set up.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Let me go here. So then you have filter options. So here I'm setting these filters where people can look at our employee database and then filter by certain things. So under filters, under content, I can set this up where I'm saying, I want you to be able to filter by department, which is a field in our database, and then choose from that database source what options I have available. So when people click on this, let me just open this up, refresh it really quick. They can filter down to specific job titles. So I have one option on the left-hand side here, and I have one above, and they can filter down to specific teams. And so now you can see that all of the employees are now filtered down to sales. So lots of options for filtering a larger database down to specific criteria. Okay. So here we can set up an action for us to be able to open up this information. In our Smartsuite database, we really have a lot of different information that's connected over to an employee record. And I want to show you how you can set up an employee detail page that shows this connected information. So I'm going to show you kind of a preview of a simple one I did, and then we're going to create it. Okay, so I'm inside a page that I called it old, so I knew it was the older one I created, and it's the employee information details page. And inside of this, it's taking one of those records and expanding on it, and I'm able to determine what fields I show. So up here in this first block, I'm connecting over to employee information, and I'm pulling in the contents that I want from that database for people to be able to visualize. Next up, and we'll recreate this, I'm showing them performance evaluations. Now in the preview block, you're not able to see like the filtered version, but I'll show you how I'm filtering down to where the employee evaluation record, employee record ID matches the person I'm in right now, their record ID. So you're able to see employee evaluations for this specific person. And again, you can use those visibility features on each block and say, now I only want logged in users who are in the user group type manager to be able to see the employee evaluations. Leave of absence, same thing. You could set it to an HR team. You can make a ton of different user group types so certain people can see certain aspects of these records. So I got as far as creating some performance evaluations and some leave of absence. So we're going to recreate this together and maybe a little bit more. Okay. So I'm going to create a page. I'm going to call this new employee details page. And in here, I have kind of a blank slate. So I'm going to add a block, and it's going to pop up this window over here. And I want a dynamic block because I'm pulling in details from that employee record from my database. So under list details, this is a great option. There's a bunch of different options here where you can customize the details from that specific record. So I'm going to pull in this first block. And up here, I just want the general information on the employee. And maybe I just want this set so all logged in users can see their general information. So I'm going to connect to a data source. I'm going to connect to a workspace. I'm connecting over to a solution. And then I'm going to connect over to the employee information table because I'm gathering information from that first table. Here you can set some conditional filters. And if I'm correct, Patrick, I think these are new, right? The conditional filters?
So the conditional filters have been there for a little while, but we have added some new types of conditions. So previously you couldn't do like numbers or dates. And those are actually new ones that are actually being added very shortly. So you'll be able to actually compare and filter a little bit.
That's great. Okay, so you can add some filters here. Right now, we won't add any filters. We can add some content here. And so here it kind of gives you items that you can connect. And so here I'm saying, okay, what do I want this image to be? I know that I think I called it photo in my database. So I'm going to connect the photo. And you'll see it pulled a photo from my database, from my Smartsuite database over. Next up, I think I want the heading, the H1 heading to be their full name. And then I can select a series. You can hide some of these that are kind of default and add your own, or you can keep going. So if I wanted another text field here, I can add company email address. And you'll see right under here, it's popping up the company email address. Now I have a tag option. I can either hide this tag option because I don't need tags, or I can show it. And here I can select department maybe. And so now it's showing the department sales. Here I can select some other information. So emergency contact information. So this you may not want to put here if it's shown to all employees, but if it's a hidden one that's specific to the user group of HR, you can show the emergency contact information. So you can put a series of different information up top here about that employee, but you can also go ahead and add some more blocks. So here I want to see all of their leave of absences. So again, I'm selecting a dynamic block. And I'm picking my data source. Picking my solution. And now I'm going to want to see leave and absence management. But I don't want to see all of those records. So I'm going to filter this down to where so let me just show this because this is an important piece, is in leave of absence. I looked up the employee record ID from my link to employee information. And that way I can say only show it when it matches. So here I have the employee record ID. And I'm going to say only where employee record ID is. And a little kind of loophole I did here is right now, because it's in beta, Softr doesn't recognize record ID fields from Smartsuite. So all I did is I created a record ID type field, but all I did is I took a formula field, pasted that record ID in there, and because it's a formula field, it recognizes that field type. So that was a quick workaround for that. And then everywhere that I was looking this up, I was looking up that Softr record ID. Okay, so in here, I'm going to say where employee record ID is the current record, employee record Softr. So that formula field that I matched is looking up in this table. It's called employee record ID. In the employee table, it's called employee record Softr. So I knew it was the Softr link. And so now it's only going to show the records that match this employee. So now let's add some content. We'll come back to filters. Looks like we're running out of time here. So let me see. So in here, I want to see all of the leaves, and I'm going to have the type of leave as the first one. So you could see up here, I'm selecting leave type of leave as the bold heading up here. I don't really need an image because it's not related to this. So I'm going to hide the image. You can leave the divider or hide it, whatever. It's really for formatting purposes. Under the leave, I want to be able to see the leave start date. And I'm titling this so I know what this date means. And you'll see start dates here. And I also want to see the end date. And here I may want to see any additional notes. And I could add quite a bit more here, but I'm going to keep it. Oh, let's add leave type. Oh, I think, yeah. Oh, I did leave type at the top, so I'm going to leave that. And you can delete these other ones you don't need. So keep it nice and clean and simple. Here, right now in this preview mode, it's kind of showing everything, or in this build mode, it's kind of showing everything, but I could publish this. And what I'm going to do from my employee directory is I'm going to go back to the employee directory, and I'm going to change what happens when you open up one of these items. It's under actions. So I have a button called See More. And when you open that up, I had it opening up to my old page, but now I want it to open up to the new employee details. So I'm going to switch this, publish it, and then I'm going to open this up. Now this is always the tricky part, so make sure I got my settings correct. So then if I click on an item, oh, I think I need to change it in one more place. Item is clicked on as well. You could do either or. So I'm going to publish this one more time. So there's no items found for this one. Let's try another one. And I'm going to set it to a logged in user that I think is a manager, which I think this one is.
I love the names of your employees as well. Those are
good old Chat GPT. We just came up with some names, but you can see here that if I put a title on this and change this title or added a title here, you can have your leave management. You could set visibility on this section so only the managers can see it. You can set permissions just like you did on the employee records to have this open up and show more details in a pop-up or in another page. And then you can add things. We ran out of time here, but you can add things where you can add the other tables, the benefits. You could do the same thing and say only show benefits for this specific employee. So there's a lot you can do with developing a portal and really customizing it.
That's great. And just for clarity, the kind of the same logic with the ID applies to all of the other tables as well.
Yep.
No matter what you're wanting to display for a person, not just sick leave or, you could display trainings that they've completed or pretty much anything. Is that right?
Yeah, you can display anything. And I always say go for something that's very unique. I wouldn't filter down personally to where full name equals full name because there could be two Will Powers at your company. So I would filter down to most of these softwares have a unique record ID or task ID, or Smartsuite has that record ID. So use that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we do have one question from Freddie, and he's asking, we be sharing the Smartsuite base and Softr templates for testing at all? And this may be kind of where we can transition. You can kind of talk a little bit about your consultancy and kind of what you do and the services you offer. But since you built the template and you built the Smartsuite solution, that question is definitely for you, whether or not you're going to share.
Sure. So yeah, I think we're going to be posting the HR solution as a template on our website that can be purchased. And then I think I'll work with you regarding for the Smartsuite solution. And then I think I'll be working with you for the sort of the portal once I get it cleaned up. So we will be posting them for people to purchase and access.
Awesome. Good deal.
Yeah. And then a little,
yeah,
go ahead.
Nope.
Yeah. And then if you want some custom work done, this may not be the perfect solution for you. We do custom work all the time. So we could, have you purchase the template. You can come to us and we can really customize that for you and fine tune it for your specific needs. So I can post my web address and you could book a discovery call. And I can also post my email address, and then we'll be sending out a follow-up email after this with all our contact information as well.
Awesome. So yeah, we've got about 2 or 3 minutes left here. Any other further questions, comments, feedback on what you've seen today? Happy to answer any questions in the chat with these last couple minutes that we've got as well. Shannon's got her website in there as well, and I've posted her email. Hopefully that's the right email, Shannon.
Yep, that's the correct one. Yep.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Good deal. Well, thank you all so much. If you think of additional questions, please feel free to email me. I'll put my email here in the chat as well. So that if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out to Shannon for all that custom building and consulting stuff. Yeah, any other questions that pop up after the webinar, please feel free to reach out. We'll be happy to assist and answer questions. And thank you all so much for joining today. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. Shannon, thank you so much.
Pleasure. Happy to showcase this. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.